the rules that you set for yourself. I am willing to risk X doing Y to win Z. If you change the variables in between there, you change the strategy partway through, you change the win goal partway through, you decide that you're going to go for 100% loss instead of 50% loss partway through, you're killing yourself on discipline. And this is really the last time we're going to talk Gambling 401. Really. I got a couple more things I want to have some fun with, but really it's the last like kind of teaching session. So I want to go over all the points that we always make, but I want to go over them in kind of a little bit more kind of review detail form. Okay. And here we are in our 22nd session in the gambling series, right? And today we're going to make an attempt to put it all together. And I don't mean to give you like the actual answer, but I want you to think about what it means to put all the things I've ever told you, we've ever talked about as a group on all of these shows, Craps Chat shows, everything else we've done. Let's put it all together. And why are we here? And I give you the statement, right? Your goal statement. I've gave this to you way back, and I want you to revisit it today. Okay. Fill in the blanks for yourselves. In this, let's call it a session. In this session, I'm willing to risk, I'll use today. In this daily paycheck show, I'm willing to risk $7,000 to win $1,400 by playing Wayland's 678 so that I can lock up a daily paycheck. I can build my bankroll, right? The reasoning is all here. I'm going to scope it to a session or a trip. I'm going to scope my risk. I'm going to state my win goal. I'm going to state what game and strategy I'm playing, and I have a reason for being there. In this session, I'm going to risk $7K to win $1,500 by playing the 678 so that I can build my bankroll. Done. That right there, that statement right there that I make every time I go to the casino, and so should you, sets you up for success or failure. Okay? By making bad decisions, by putting the wrong things in the blanks, one can be a bad decision, but by not having a statement like this can be the worst decision you could make. By going there with no plan, right? I think having a plan is a big part of it, right? And your goal is part of it. What is the why? Why are you there, right? Are you bankroll building? Are you looking for steady, consistent, relatively low risk wins to build a bankroll, right? Are you paycheck playing it? Are you going there on some regular basis or even like on a weekend? Am I going there to pay for stuff, right? If I'm doing daily paycheck, if I move to Vegas, right, and Dan and I are neighbors, Dice Dr. Dan and I become neighbors, and I go every day. Am I going there to pay my bills? Am I going there to win extra money, right? I'm going there every day to win some extra cash so that me and Kathy can go out to dinners and do the shows, and it's like that, right? Or am I going, like I've done in the past, to go win a thing, right? One day I found that great base. Here, I'll even show it to you. Little diversion here, but I saw this base right here at a pawn shop. Like that is a Traben base. You don't see these very often. There's on camera. You don't see these very often. This is a weird collector's item base. Like that thing is freaking awesome. It happened to be in a pawn shop. And I'm like, my God, that's cool. I went to the casino to win the money to buy that damn thing. And that after I literally left I said, honey, I'm going to buy me a new base. Go to the casino, right? Whatever it was, $475, whatever it was that I won that day was for the base, right? That was a paycheck play. I went up there to earn money to do a thing. And I got lucky that day. Hit a big 6 and 8. I had I got lucky, right? But again, the goal that day was I'm going to the casino for one session with $500 to double my money to buy this base. And that's exactly what I did. And what I did was I played an aggressive 6-7-8 or an aggressive 6-8 system. That's what I did. I hammered the 6 and 8. Right? Are you going for a one night stand? Going out for a few hours with the wife? Go out to go to see a show at a concert at a casino, and you're going to play a while, right? I'm only going to be there for a few hours, but I'm going to hit it really hard. I'm not there for a purpose. I'm not there trying to build my bankroll. I'm trying to have some fun, right? Am I going for a meetup? Am I going to Vegas for DiceCon or the Big AZ, big meetup, or Craps for the Cure, where I'm going to be there for 2 or 3 days with a bunch of friends, and it's going to be wild and crazy and not very disciplined, right? Many sessions over many days. That's a different kind of a goal, right? Your way of playing there is different. You're not necessarily going to go hog wild. You might be bringing ATS money to go ATS or going side bet crazy, right? Instead of regular betting, that your strategies may change based on why you're going, right? If you're going for a cruise, 7 days on a boat, and your number one job is to earn enough money to pay for the cruise that you're on and maybe pay for the next one, then you can go. Your goals are different. The way that you play is different. So having that in mind ahead of time is important, right? And know your numbers. Again, the goal statement has it there. I'm willing to risk X to win Y. That's my win goal and my loss limit. Okay. You might put a time limit on it. You might say, I'm just going to play for half an hour. Some guys do it. I know guys, I'm playing for half an hour and that's it. Or I'm playing for 30 rolls and that's it. But I'm going to do what I'm doing for 30 rolls or 10 rolls or whatever, and I'm done, right? Whatever the number is, you better know that coming into it, okay? Now, we've talked about this before. Once you have a goal, you pick the strategy that matches the goal, right? This is one of Jacob's, from Wager Me This, most famous statements, right? Your strategy accounts for your wins. The way that you play accounts for your wins. What is a strategy? I know strategy is kind of a hot button word. For some reason, people don't like the word strategy. They think that it's got some negative connotation to it. I don't care. Strategies to me are just what this is. It's what am I betting on? How much am I betting? What am I doing with the wins? And what do I do when I lose? That's a strategy. Okay. You can give it a name. You can call it the green coffee cup dominator. I don't care what you call the strategy. It's what are you betting on? How much are you betting? What do you do with the wins? How about the losses? That's it. Today I played a 6, 7, 8. I bet on the 6 and 8 and the don't pass. I same bet it every single time. That was how I handled my wins. My losses, I cried instead of laddering. That's a way to account for your wins, okay? You got to work backwards from that. If you've got a specific goal in mind, how many wins does it take to get to a goal at each dollar amount? If my goal is to win, let's say I'm in for $500, I'm looking to win $100, right? If I'm going to only have $10 bet sizes, I need 10 wins or 5 wins to get 50 or 10 for 100. If I want to optimize against that and say, I want to be here for less time, then I can do it in 4 wins and win a quarter each time. Bigger bets, bigger wins, optimize for time, right? You can optimize your strategy, the way that you decide to play, how much you want to put at risk, optimize for time, bigger bets, less time. You can optimize for exposure, lower bets, less exposure, right? You can optimize for wax. I'm going to play only the 6 and the 8, or only 1 dozen, or I'm going to play 2 dozens plus a street, or I'm going to play all the way across on a craps table. You can optimize to get less things that beat you, to have less or more money out there, or less or more time. You can't get all 3, right? It's impossible. If you could optimize for all 3, you'd be a winner, right? You can't. We used to say this in the food industry, right? You can have it good, you can have it right, or you can have it fast, right? Or you have it good, cheap, or fast. You can't get all 3. Software works the same way. I cannot give you an application fast and cheap, right? With it being right. If it's fast and cheap, it's going to be broke, right? If it's fast and correct, it's going to be super expensive. I'm going to hire 55 people to do it. This is the same thing. You cannot get all 3. Optimize what you are most passionate about, or optimize what works best for your way of playing. But work backwards and know those numbers really fast, okay? Now, the bankroll, again, to follow that same point, is how you account for your losing. Your strategy accounts for how you want to win. Your bankroll accounts for how you're going to handle those losses, okay? And again, based on how you optimized your strategy, if you optimized for time or exposure or wax, the bankroll gives you the answers to these questions. How many times can I try what it is I'm trying to try? How many beatings can I take? Okay. Can I chase loss? Do I have enough bankroll to try a loss chasing system like a Marty or the La Bichère or whatever, right? Can I battle back with the same strategy, or given a loss, does my bankroll dictate that I switch? Good example. Okay. Today I went out with a strategy on my daily paycheck show with a $7,000 bankroll that the very first roll of the dice cost me $1,000 because I was working the come out and threw a come out 7. My next move was to do the exact same thing, which means I can try it again, but I got it. My loss meter went up, right? I could have gone out with a much bigger bet, right? $3,000 across on the craps table and taken a hit for $750 or $800 or whatever it was that would have came on that next roll. I think it was an 8. I would have won $700, right? which recovers most of that loss in the one big thing, right? Your bankroll says, can I try that or not? And if I want to try that, cool. Handle my loss. The bankroll says yes or no to that question. And then I can go back to the regular system, right? The marriage of your bankroll and your strategy is a true marriage. And true marriages are not always here. Sometimes they're here. Sometimes they're here. Sometimes they're off camera, right? When you're incompatible, it's catastrophic. And if you pick the wrong strategy for the wrong goal with the wrong bankroll, if you don't match all that stuff up, you're going to have a tough time. You cannot do a ladder strategy with a tiny bankroll. You just can't do it, right? $10 bet size, $500 bankroll. It's almost impossible to ladder with more than one bet, right? If you try and do something where it's multiple bets and bigger sizes with a tiny bankroll, you're going to get thumped every single time. It's a catastrophe for you. You got to marry all of it together, right? The right bankroll, the right strategy, and the right goal. Those three things are the magic. That's the magic formula. I hate to say it like that, to winning, right? It's the magic formula to your marriage too, right? You find the things that make the marriage tick in your home life, and you make them work together. But by being incompatible in multiple areas, you're going to have major problems, right? This is the same thing, folks. And I think that's the most important point that I can make, is that find the ones that play well together. If your goal is to triple your bankroll and you're playing, the headless horseman, you're never going to get there. It's the wrong goal for the wrong strategy, and you're going to be really pissed off when you lose your money, right? It's just an important way to think through it, okay? Bankroll is not just about making betting decisions, okay? We had a whole session or 2 or 3 on this way back about managing your money. I taught you my bank accounting system, the multiple bank accounts that I maintain to manage my gambling life, right? None of that money, by the way, touches my life, right? I made this statement a while back. I'm going to stop gambling for a while because I had lost my job. We were buying a house. It was the whole thing, right? Like, you know what? I'm not going to touch it. I have money in the bank set aside for gambling, but I'm not going to use it, right? Managing your money is an important piece of it in your actual bank and at the tables. If you have a stack of chips on a blackjack table or a rack of chips on the craps table, the way that you manage your money and pay attention to what you're up, what you're down, where it is, and how it's going, if you're not playing some kind of a profit lock and play with the excess system, you're going to have a problem staying alive in this game or in any game at the casino. You've got to use your bankroll smartly. So again, your bankroll answers your how to bet questions. It also is the driver for the way you manage yourself. And I think having your fingers kind of in the pot all the time and managing your money in strict focus, I think is wickedly important. So manage your money. Your bankroll is a big part of this whole thing. We've talked about mindset too. And I ask you this question right off the bat. Are you strong enough to do it? Right? It's okay if you're not. It's okay if you want to be a degen. It's okay if you want to go to Vegas and just light 10 grand on fire. It's cool. If you got the 10 grand to light on fire, that's cool, right? If you're looking to win more consistently, more regularly, take a lot less whacks, right? All the stuff we talk about is fantastic, right? It's all good. And if it's going well, going poorly, right? There's something that's keeping you there, right? And I think that this is an important piece. Your mindset is the thing, right? The casino plays games with you, right? We've talked about this, right? The oxygen, the smells, the waitresses, the free drinks, and all the atmosphere, right? Everything there is kind of going against you, right? Besides the game itself being against you, okay? I think though, you can be your own distraction. And I say this with all sincerity. Clarity and focus eliminates stupid mistakes and adds to house edge, right? They've already got the edge on you. They're already pumping in music. They're already got the good smelling air. They've already got the free drink. They have all these things that are trying to make the house edge more valuable to them. In other words, if you play into the house edge, combats or whatever, right? You're not going to make a lot. They're not going to make a lot of money. But if you're doing that plus a bunch of dumb shit because of all what's going on, they can help you make poor decisions. You got to be focused, right? Your mindset. I'm going there with that goal statement to do my thing, and I'm going to stay on task. You go in there with the idea of staying on task, you're going to be okay-ish. You're not going to be okay and win all the time. You're going to be less apt to do something dumb and lose more than you ought to. That's an important piece of it. So your mindset, I think, is part of how it brings together. And all of that comes home with discipline. I talk discipline all the time, right? Discipline, here's the definition, right? It's being able to behave and work in a controlled way, right? That involves obeying rules. The rules that you set for yourself. I am willing to risk X doing Y to win Z. If you change the variables in between there, you change the strategy partway through, you change the win goal partway through, you decide that you're going to go for 100% loss instead of 50% loss partway through, you're killing yourself on discipline. Discipline, stick to that plan, right? Discipline mind, you're rational, you're not tribal, you're not getting into the vibe, right? You're making informed decisions and you're thinking critically all the time. Discipline is kind of it's the tether that makes all that other stuff work. You can have the best strategy, the biggest bankroll, the clearest mind. And if you fall prey to having no discipline, it's all for naught. Throw it all in the garbage can and just hand them your money. This is a key to it, right? Again, there's a reason why I say this all the time. I get unlucky on my daily paycheck show a lot. I get unlucky. It happens, right? There's unluck, but you'll almost never see me rail dump and just go balls to the wall and lose all my money. If I do that, I call it out ahead of time and say, hey guys, I'm about to go crazy here. Knowingly, we're on a show. I'm going to try something to see what happens. I'll tell you ahead of time. In a real casino, I'm home right now, but because we're on a show, I will do a thing. If you're going to fall prey to that, then none of the lectures we've ever done make any difference. Discipline's where it's all at. You got to bring it all together, right? Your goal sheet, your strategy, your bankroll, your mindset, having discipline, and then all the ancillary, like the grout in the bricks that make up your gambling life, the knowledge of the game that you're playing. You better know everything about that game. Don't play Baccarat unless you know the rules. Don't play blackjack unless you got that card memorized, right? Don't play craps or roulette and make bets if you don't know the odds and probabilities of what you're doing. Don't do it, right? You better embrace variance, right? The probabilities never work out perfectly. You're always going to be in a variant. It's your ride or die. For most people, it's a die, not a ride. And I'm telling you that right now. Most people bet on gambler's fallacy. They do all things, I hate to say do things wrong, but when you don't understand how variance works and what it is that you're actually experiencing, it's your ride or die. Don't die with it. Ride it. Find a way to be low when the variant is going against you and up when the variant changes course. Find a way that works in that circumstance, or one hit and out. Quick hitters that avoid variance altogether. You got to be thinking through that. Have a reasoned, logical plan. Know the theory of what you're doing. Why does a 6, 7, 8 work? Not just the fact that Jacob told me to play it that way, or Wayland's Way Craps put a video out. I'm doing what he said. Okay, that's quote unquote knowledge. That's not understanding the theory. Why does that work? Why does Wayland in the 6, 7, 8 strategy have the don't pass at the same bet size as the 6 and 8? Why is it a $12 6 and 8 and a $12 don't? Why isn't it just a $12 6 and 8 and a $10 don't? Why? There's a reason for that. You better understand the theory and the logic behind what you're doing. Don't just go out there, watch a video, take some notes, and put your paycheck on the table. That's an important bit to all this. It's a discipline piece. It's a practice piece. Remember, above all else, we are gambling. Okay? There's no secret here. There's no perfect way to win. There's no guarantees. There is risk. Okay? Make sure you can afford the risk. Okay? But if you're not willing to risk, you're not going to win. You got to take some risk if you want to win. Even a stable, low volatility play like a come bet with some odds involves risk. Even a one hit and down involves risk for a short period of time. If you don't get that, if you're not willing to embrace the risk, don't go. If you can't afford what you have set aside in your goal statement, don't go. It's important, okay? The best laid plans of mice and men, they say, right? Solve your puzzle. Solve your puzzle. The answers in the blanks below in this session. I'm willing to risk 1,000 to win 100 by playing come bets with odds so that I can build my bankroll. Whatever that statement is for you, those blanks are different for every player. Everybody watching this video has got different things that go in those blanks. Maybe and likely those blanks are different for you every time you go to the casino. If you're going for a cruise ship for a week, if you're going out for a night with friends, if you're going for a coffee run in the morning, those blanks are different. Okay. And again, find the strategy that matches the goal in your bankroll that best fit and produce what you're looking for when you make your goal statement. That's the most important thing. You got to do that. You got to practice, right? You got to know what works and what doesn't. That's why I love a thing like Crapsy or some of these online roulette simulators. Put your stuff to the test. Play it every day. Don't go to the casino not knowing what's going to happen. What I did today on Daily Paycheck, I had no idea what was going to happen. I'd never run it before. I wanted to see what was going to happen. This is a practice session. It's like, let's see what happens when this, I'm going to see what it is, right? The questions you have to ask yourself as you're putting your goal sheet together. What is the fastest or safest or easiest or low risk or high risk, whatever, way to win $100 with a stated loss of 500? If that's your number, I want to win 100, I'm going to risk 5. Cool. What's the fastest way to do that? What's the safest way to do it? What's the easiest way to do it? What's the most low risk way to do it? Right? Know that. That's a question you have to ask yourself before you go out there. What's the best way to play with $500 for 4 hours? Think about that. You're going to be at the casino for 4 hours. You got your time to kill, right? You only have $500 to do it. 4 hours is at least 200 resolutions. It's at least 200 hands of blackjack, 50 hands an hour, maybe more than that, right? Probably more than that, right? Roulette table is for sure. It's about 50 an hour, right? The craps table, maybe 45 to 50 throws an hour. Think about that. 200 resolutions in 4 hours. You may not even process that until I just said it, right? We think of hours and shooters and blah, blah. 4 hours is probably 200 to 250 times your bets get resolved. That's a lot, man. That is a lot. What is the best way to do it with $500 that I can last the 5? So I can at least, even if I'm willing to say light it on fire, that I can peter the $500 out over the course of 4 hours, right? Think of that. How can I make $3,500 last for 3 days with a group of buddies, right? What's the best way to hit a home run if I don't care about the bankroll, right? What's my best home run strategy? If I'm going to go there with buddies and I'm saying, you know what, I don't care, I'm just going to home run it, right? What's the best way to get that done? Those are some simple questions that only you can answer based on what you've tried. The answers depend on your game, baccarat, roulette, craps, whatever, sports betting. It depends on your goal, right? Depends on your brain, depends on your experience you're trying to have. All those things come into play, right? You can have all the tools through the entire series we've done. You've got thousands of other YouTube videos out there giving you all these different ways to play. You got to find what speaks to you, right? Of all the lessons I've given you, I guarantee you, and there's been I've done 90 episodes from Gambling 101 to today. 90 episodes on this stuff. 90. Can you believe that? 90 lectures we've given? Maybe 3 of those touched your soul. Cool. Put that into practice, please. Maybe you watched 4 or 5 videos. Find the ways that speak to you and practice them. Tomorrow we're going to talk about practice. How do you practice a strategy? How do you practice throwing? How do you practice whatever it is you're trying to do, right? Practice makes perfect. Perfect still equals a loss at the casino over time. Remember that. Perfect still equals a loss. We're trying to limit the amount of loss and maximize the amount of win. Maybe you come out here. I feel like over my lifetime, I've come out a little bit ahead because I've maximized my wins. I've had a couple of badass wins and a whole bunch of little tiny losses, right? All of what I'm talking about, that's the way that works, right? It's discipline mindset, it's bankroll, it's playing ways that match what I'm trying to do. It's so important. Old Bay Craps, when I last 4 hours with $500, I'll let you know, hey, it's not that hard. It isn't that hard. You can do it. You got to be willing to do it though, right? Be willing to do it. If you got a bunch of friends at a table, there's no shame. Honestly, there's no shame in dropping a $10 pass line bet and letting it sit there on a craps table. You're going to get 8 shooters an hour on average, right? 8 shooters throw about 8 rolls per. 50 rolls an hour is the average. 8 shooters an hour, you're going to $80 at risk over the hour. You're going to win about half those bets. So $40, that'll last you 4 hours. It's easy to do if you don't have to do all this shit and be a part of all the crazy. You can make it last if you're willing to make it last. And again, if your goal is, I'm willing to risk $500 to win nothing so that I can last 4 hours with my friends, cool. The strategy I'm going to play today is a pass line without odds. Fine. It's cool. You're not going to go out there with a $100 field bet and try and last 5 hours with it or 4 hours. That's just right. That's again, that's the confluence of stupidity and not marrying things right. That's what I was saying earlier, where it's a catastrophe if things don't match. If your goal is to last 5 hours with $500 and you're betting $100 in the field, catastrophe. You're never going to last 5 hours. $10 in a pass line, you'll last 5 hours. That's the things you got to be thinking about, right? Put it all. You have the knowledge. You all have the knowledge. I've given you everything I can give you. I've given you my entire soul here, right? So put it all together. Find ways to put all that together, make the best marriage for you, and fill in that goal sheet every time you go mentally, right? And make it work. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. Thanks for watching. Please feel free to leave us a comment here in the comment section for the video, but really better still, join us on Discord. Go to casinogaming.tv and hit the community link in the menu there and join our Discord. That's where me, other YouTubers, and all of our subscribers hang out. We sit there and talk strategy and just BS kind of all day long. It's a great way to get connected and stay connected and kind of interact with the team, learn about meetups and get-togethers and all that kind of stuff. So with all that said, again, thanks for watching. I really appreciate your time. God bless you, and I will see you in the next one.